charging all the batteries that we'll be doing. So we'll be putting 2x4s on the wall, and then I think cargo nets, something like that is what we're looking for here. Okay, so here's my setup for today as we get ready to start building the shelf unit where all the electrical will be housed and storage for during trips. Of course, got the Delta 2 here, making power, running our fan. It's a little warm today, and of course for charging all the batteries that we'll be doing. So we'll be putting 2x4s on the wall and then building a structure. Going to attach it to the wall, and well, you'll see as I go. It took a lot of thinking about this because, in all honesty, I wanted to go with 80-20, and then I wanted to go with maybe Unistret for strength. And in the end, when I compared cost compared to durability to strength, the 2x4s won out, especially when I looked at weight. The weight was negligible and the cost was huge. Now, I did go and buy a high quality 2x4. I got my 2x4s at Lowe's and I bought their premium ones, the select studs. So, all right, like I said, we got everything set up. I put some shims on here. On the first one I'm putting on the wall because I need to get around the box here, the box of the wheel well, because the stud, as I drilled some holes to for sure find the stud's over here. And my 2x4 was going to be too far that way. So I did want to keep that connection with the floor, though, to transfer that weight down as much as possible. And again, I will be drilling into the studs on these. I'm not going to let them float or anything. Then we'll have to see about putting some in the middle, too, because this middle shelf is going to be carrying up to 3 Delta Pros. So they're going to be 300 pounds on that middle shelf. Maybe not during travel, as you know, as I discussed the reason for going with the EcoFlow Delta Pros, but staying put and maybe sometimes during travel. So we got to make sure this thing is rock solid. All right, there we go. All the uprights are in place. My 8-foot power wall along with storage on the top. Now I'll start the cross members across. When I'm done, it'll be pretty sturdy. May not be carpenter approved, but for a retired electrician, it's not bad. Well, got the skeleton up. Of course, the hardest part is not being able to use a level, even if the trailer's level, to get it perfectly level. So everything's just got to be measured and plumbed. But I think it looks pretty good if I do say so myself. So, as I said, the batteries go down here on the bottom. Then the EcoFlow Power Station's extra batteries will go in this shelf here. This shelf will be for clothes, etc. Then the top shelf will be for things that are used a lot less. There'll be a good amount. These are just loose 2x4s up here for framing the kitchen counters when we get that started. So there we go. All framed in before I put anything else. We'll have to get the batteries in down there so I don't have to fight. And you may see that I've also used my Lexel and gone around the bottoms on both sides. Sealed it up really good. Make sure we don't get any drafts or anything in there. All right. On to the next step, and then, of course, we will finish this up. It'll have some of the tongue and groove on the sides of it, and a little wraparound on it, and the, as I think I may have said though in the intro, very little doors or anything on this build. Doors are weight. Don't need them. I think cargo nets Something like that is what we're looking for here, just to hold things in so they don't come out during transport. With the rough end finish of the shelving unit, a little bit more than the rough end, but basically just the rough end, starting the 12-volt system install, move the batteries and the wood backer that I had made this winter and had spent quite a bit of time testing, moved it in today, got it all set up. Nothing's wired in yet. I'm going to wait until I have the solar controller and everything mounted up and ready to go before we connect them. So, coming along, first start on the electrical system, other, of course, than the solar panels on top. So we've kind of hit a cold day here in the build. First real cold day this spring. Got the Vernato heater running, 750/1500 watt. Got it on 750. Got the EcoFlow Delta 2 and the extra battery here running, connected to the solar. And it's not doing too bad. I mean, it's not really a sunny day out there, and we're making about 250 watts. So we've got a little bit of a deficit going on, but at least we can keep it comfortable here in the trailer so we don't have to wear a coat. So it's going to be interesting to see what we can do with just the onboard solar, even to keep up with things like this, heaters, or as it gets warmer, the air conditioning. I'm still not sure what I'm doing on the air conditioning, but boy, there's a lot of choices out there. EcoFlow makes some great products that run directly off the 48-volt DC bus that saves you some money because, or saves you power very simply because you're not doing the conversion through the inverter. All right, so next step in our electrical box, I think that's what we're going to call it, the nerve center of the trailer, the part I'm putting the most time in and effort, that's for sure. Again, yesterday we got the batteries and everything for the 12-volt system put in. Now I'm putting up some backing board. It's just some pine, 1x. I want something good and sturdy in here that's going to be able to take the equipment and the cabling that's got to traverse from one side of the box to the other. So we got this up, and next we're going to start mounting all of our parts, our pieces in here, and start planning it out. Do I have a plan right now where things go? No, not a bit. All right, here we are on a nice sunny morning. A little different from yesterday. Be a great day to make solar, except everything's full right now. So as you can see, I'm coming along with the storage/power unit here. Yesterday I was running heat. Today it's going to be nice. Got our AC distribution panel in, squared EQO. And we've mounted our MPPT controller and our shore power charger and a few other things we got going on today. We're going to tackle getting in our DC distribution panel on this side of the trailer. Here it's a Sealand panel. As far as I could tell, it was kind of got the best ratings. It was definitely the most expensive. Nice little panel. I don't like the fact it doesn't have the little red lights to tell you if you got a blown fuse, but there we go. I wanted to put it here and keep everything down here, but I'm really having an issue with that in my head because we're going to have a lot of crossing and it's just going to be too congested down here with all the other things I have to do down here from the 120 volt distribution. So I got a lot of things going on. Like I said, I'll be showing you some really unique concepts that I've come up with on that and to deal with all the solar coming in on this side. So I'm actually going to take and put the DC distribution all the way down on this end in here, inside the cabinet. And then of course there will be a second distribution panel on the other side of the trailer in the kitchen. All right, so I'm going to get started here on this beautiful sunny day. It's alive! Well, I got my solar hooked up, run through my disconnect breaker to my Victron MPPT controller. We're hooked up. Haven't hooked up the shore power. Well, it's all hooked up, but haven't used it. I'll probably figure out a way to discharge the batteries a little bit before I try that. But got everything hooked up and checked. Batteries are all hooked up and voltages are all reading really good. Got the panel down there hot. That's all hooked up. Ready to start hooking some 12-volt circuits up to. And one hell of a mess. Oh yeah. This ought to be fun to clean up. So I made a small modification in the solar charge controller. First time I'd seen it was yesterday. I unpackaged it and I went ahead and I thought, wow, these are a lot of heat sinks here. And I went ahead and mounted it because I wanted to get it going. And I got to thinking about it last night and did a little research, and I see people say both ways. You know, you can mount it to the wood, you can fireproof plywood, this, that, all sorts of things. But it really started bothering me, and I'm like, so what am I going to do with this? And I came up with just using some solar panel brackets. They're made out of aluminum, and they hold it off a pretty good amount. And of course, the aluminum would dissipate any heat. So I'm kind of happy with that modification. Had to drill two of them out to get them to fit, but boy, I don't think that's going to go anywhere like that. That's for sure with 4/4 20s holding it on there. So, and I got it grounded. Connected it over to my single point grounding bus. Okay, so here we go for one of my first of many experiments, I hoped. So, when of course I disconnected the MP4 connectors from the solar that I was using to charge the Delta 2 and its extra battery, I lost that ability to charge because now I'm routing it through the 12-volt system. So what I've tried here is I went ahead and got one of the cords for charging the Delta 2, and I hooked it up to my 12-volt distribution panel. And you can see it's not a fast charge, but at least it's going to keep this battery topped off so I have 120 volts available, and I'm still using the solar to charge it. Yeah, it's only looking even like it would take 30 minutes. Now, it was only like at 93%. I'd only been running lights and a fan this morning, but at least this gives me a solution to be able to continue to keep during the construction process to keep my Delta 2 and the extra battery charged up so I have 120 volts. Because again, remember, I'm not going to have an inverter here. I'm going to be running this camper off of the Delta Pro and the extra batteries. So that will be my 120 volt system. This will be my 12 volt system is the EcoFlow 300 amp hours of batteries, and of course room to expand later. All right, so we will continue and I'll keep you updated on this experiment, how it goes, but I want to try this to make sure I still had a way, because at this point I really don't want to drag out portable solar panels when I'm here working on it. I want to be able to use what I have here to continue to keep the construction process going without using anything other than solar for this build. So one other thing with this, here's kind of the nice thing with this. If you take a look, I haven't mounted this yet, but this is the shunt display. And you see there's absolutely nothing going into the battery whatsoever or coming out of the battery. So this is all actually passing from the solar controller directly through to the EcoFlow. So it's really nice the way Victron does that control. Just kind of a nice setup. That way I'm actually just passing the wattage, the current through to the EcoFlow when these batteries are fully charged. Got it set up at least temporarily to give me power during the build. So I got the Delta 2 with the expansion battery here that is charging off the 12 volt circuit from the solar. Yes, slow charge, but steady. And I don't have to do any ground-based solar during the build of the trailer. Again, I know I repeated 1,000 times, but the goal is I want to build this totally off power of the sun. I've even been told by the owner of the storage lot that right over there, you can kind of see it, there's a pole that's got some cameras and a light on it. There's a 120 volt outlet on there. He said I could always stretch a cord or I could take a power station over to charge it, or I'm like, nope, that really kind of defeats the purpose. It's important to me that I build it all off-grid, since this is an off-grid boondocking project. So, got my lights running, got my fan running. It is a little warmer today. No heater today. Just getting ready to finish up for the day, so we're getting all the batteries charged up. As you can see, the power stations in the solar are working hard now. Fan, lights still running. You see one of the things that got done today, got the end caps put on and clear coated with the clear acrylic. So in the end here will be the shunt monitor, the EcoFlow monitor, switches, etc. And then on the other side, don't have the corner moldings for it yet, but roughed in around the panel. We'll get the corner moldings put up and get those finished off. All right, great end of a day, and said giving her a workout, getting everything charged up for tomorrow. You know, I'm really getting too old for this, but here we go. So this is the first of the 3 runs. This is 3/4 inch non-metallic liquid tight, and it runs under the trailer with stainless steel clamps with rubber sleeves on them. And then it's put in with number 12 stainless steel tech screws into the frame underneath of the trailer. And you can see it going all the way up to the front and then into the nose of the trailer. Strapped about every foot to 18 inches, all the way back until it goes up in on this side to the electrical box. All right, that's the longest one, the hardest one to get in. And here's a look at it from the other end. Sorry, might be a little blurry, awfully close. Going down under all the way out to where it goes up over there. So as you can see, it is well secured. Sorry about that. It is well secured coming across. Well, we got a real mess going on here, but still moving forward. As you can see, got some of the first surface raceways up. This is where the desk will go here in the front of the trailer. So we've got our power coming up through our raceway that went under the trailer. First surface raceway up. This will be just above the desktop, right under the shelf tops. So we got our 120 volt, we've got our 12 volts circuits here, and we're going to extend a raceway up that will pick up the lighting circuit and pick up the fan. Also on the other side, starting to get some of the switches in. Got one more switch to put in here for the dimmer for the center light that goes down the middle of the trailer, but these will be for the external lights, possibly some wall sconces, and these are lighted switches. So, moving along with the project. Got the heater running this morning. I think, as I said, I'd got the 120 volt panel connected now, so we've got a couple receptacles to power some things like heaters. Temporarily got the two Delta 2s here and connected to our shore power connection with the adapter down to the standard 120 volt 20 amp receptacle. So it's a nice cold day today. Getting some heat in here. Gonna do some work. Got our basic electrical system in. Got things straightened up today. Cleaned up. It was a total disaster. Got everything, as I said, cleaned up. Swept the floors. Finished up in the nose of the trailer. Getting the power run up here, along with getting the raceways up to the fan, and of course the center light that goes through, including installing this fancy little push button. Really kind of cool. I like it. Got my other switches in that aren't hooked up or assigned to anything yet, but there'll be various things those control. So moving right along, I think that's going to be it on the electrical system for a little while here. And I think what we're going to do next is we're going to move in to starting the metal stud walls over here.